The great Dan Fouts, Hall of Famer with the San Diego Chargers and part of the CBS broadcast team as a great analyst. Hey, Dan, it's Tiki and Tierney. How you been, buddy? Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt about it. We're going to get to Peyton, obviously, get to some of the matchups as well. But you've been around the league for a long time, so I'm sure nothing surprises you. But yet, when we got up this morning, when we got word last night that Lovie Smith was fired by the Bucs, considering we really hadn't heard anything that would even suggest that could happen, did that surprise you a little bit? And what do you think that means for Jameis Winston moving forward?
Well, first of all, I think that whenever there's at the end of the season, Black Monday comes and owners get nervous. They see a potential head coach down the road get away. And I think that's what happened there in Tampa because Dirk Cutter, their offensive coordinator, had some interest from the Dolphins. And, he's highly respected, and his development and work with Jameis Winston was big this year. And I'm sure that he's going to get a serious look from Tampa now, or they wouldn't have fired Lovie Smith yesterday.
It seems like a dangerous precedent here, Dan. And Tiki and I were talking about this, where if you have somebody that you value, and clearly if you employ a head coach, you value him somewhat, but just because other teams want to interview somebody beneath him, that's a dangerous trend. I don't know if I like that. That doesn't seem very comforting for coaches.
Well, I don't think there is anything comforting for coaches.
Yeah, I guess.
When was that part of the deal? They get paid a lot of money to be uncomfortable.
That's true. That's true.
What do you think about the decision by the Denver Broncos to start Peyton Manning over Brock Osweiler, who struggled at some points in the season, but pretty much has been a pretty good fill-in for Peyton Manning, who's been bad, let's be honest, for most of his time this year?
Well, all he had to do is look at the players' reaction for Manning after that game last week, and you saw, they're very happy, and they rallied around Peyton. And I think Kubiak sensed that the team needed a jump, and they got it from Manning against the Chargers. So, going forward, it's all about winning and giving yourself the best chance to win. I think the Broncos feel comfortable now with Osweiler coming off the bench if they need to bring him off the bench.
Yeah.
And this is not a situation that's normal for Manning, obviously. He did play, fairly well against the Chargers, and he got the W, which is the most important thing.
How important is it to have a guy with experience in the postseason right now? Because I think that obviously had something to do with it as well.
Well, there's no question. And who has more playoff experience than Peyton Manning? Obviously, it's not Brock Osweiler. Probably only Tom Brady has more. So, obviously for Kubiak and for John Elway, they want to win. They want to win now. They want to win the Super Bowl. And if they feel it, Manning gives them the best chance.
Talking to great Dan Fouts, Hall of Famer, of course, with San Diego Chargers, analyst, CBS, and Dan's kind enough to give us some time here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Get a real mixed bag so far in the playoffs, at least for Wild Card Weekend. You've got the kind of the blue collar, kind of like I don't know why I'll use a Rocky analogy, but that's why I look at Brian Hoare. I feel like he's like football's version of Rocky.
Yeah, he never goes away, man.
Alex Smith gets no respect, but he's pretty good. Big Ben's a Hall of Famer. Nobody really knows what McCarron is. It just seems like, and maybe I'm just living in the moment here, Dan, but it seems like there's a very wide range of quarterback talents and less sure things in the playoffs to start this year than other years past. Do you feel the same thing?
Yeah, and I would go with the experienced quarterbacks, like we just talked about. I mean, you've got Roethlisberger and a Pittsburgh team. In fact, I'll be there for Westwood 1 with Kevin Harlan, and
nice.
Looking forward to you talk about a rumble in the jungle. That one could be it. But as far as Alex Smith, he is who he is, and he's darn good. To get the Chiefs to win all these games in a row to get into the playoffs, a heck of an accomplishment after starting 1-5. When they lose the running back Charles. So the big thing about some of these guys, it's an opportunity, but a lot of crazy things happen in the playoffs.
Are you buying what's happening with the Washington Redskins and Kirk Cousins?
Well, they're where everybody wants to be in the playoffs because of Cousins, and Cousins has been hot. I don't think Jay Gruden gets enough credit now for sticking with Cousins and developing Cousins, and that's always been the credit to Gruden is that the fact that he does develop quarterbacks. So He's done a good job with Cousins, and but that defense and running game is pretty good for the Redskins too.
Dan, listen, Tiki played, you played. I mean, I think I have a pretty decent eye for the NFL, but not nearly where it is for you guys. I readily admit that. But I was watching some film on Aaron Rodgers, and this jumped out to me. And I want to see if you're obviously seeing the same thing. We've talked about their lack of foot speed for the wideouts. They just don't get a whole lot of separation.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the sense that Aaron knows that, and as he drops back and hits his back foot, he just doesn't trust that they're going to be open and is almost really beginning to scramble before they even finish their routes. And he's trying to improvise out of necessity. Is that a fair assessment? Because if it is, I don't think the Packers have much of a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's a real good assessment, and we've seen it so many times, especially early in the season when it looked like Rodgers had a chance to go to his first receiver, but just didn't have the faith that he would get open or the conviction to let the ball loose. And so many of Rodgers' big plays over his career have come when he's extended the play. And look for Jordy Nelson. Well, Nelson was hurt in that freak injury early in the preseason. And so that's not there for Rodgers. And I still think, like you said, he's in that habit of trying to buy time, to buy extra time for his receivers to get open somewhere down the field.